before Christmas, and like I said earlier, Paskong-Pasko na po dito sa set ng Kababayan LA. Pero ang nakakalungkot, marami po sa atin na problema, hindi po maramdaman yung Kapaskuhan dahil meron pong mga pending foreclosures. But don't worry, because Attorney Norberto Reyes is here once again to help us with that problem. Attorney, first question, di ba pagka yung mga insurgents, mga ganyan, insurgents sa military sa Philippines, meron silang tinatawag na ceasefire. Kasi nga, for the holiday season, Christmas spirit. Ito ba mga foreclosures, wala din ba itong mga ceasefires?
Usually wala. There was one year in 2009 where there was a state-imposed moratorium on foreclosures. But this year, walang foreclosure moratorium, so it will continue as usual.
So we're facing the possibility of some families being homeless this Christmas season.
Correct.
Nakakalungkot naman, Attorney.
Yes. But, there's many things that we can do to help. And that's some of the things I'd like to talk about here this afternoon.
Okay. Yeah, I'm hearing about this temporary restraining order thing. Can we do that?
Yes. A temporary restraining order is most commonly referred to by the initials TRO. And what it means is that you have the right as a homeowner, as a plaintiff, to go into court on an emergency basis and to convince the judge that based on the strength of our evidence, there are legal grounds to stop a certain event from happening. Usually it's a foreclosure sale. And what we would do in my office, for example, is to go into court maybe a day or two prior to the sale and show the judge that based on our evidence, it is strong enough to warrant stopping the foreclosure from happening.
Okay, first question, Attorney. Yung sinasabi mong TRO, anong mga requirements yan? Can anybody file it?
Yes. Someone who is in danger of suffering irreparable harm. Yun ang legal standard that we have to show in court.
Ano yung layman's term sa irreparable harm? May mga examples ka ba na?
Yes. In the law, real estate is considered to be unique. And so the risk of losing ownership of real estate is the kind of harm that under the law that is considered irreparable. In other words, it's hard to calculate how much your damages would be if you were to lose the real estate. For example, if you had $100 and you lost that $100, under the law it's easy to calculate how much your damages are. It would be $100.
Yes.
But if you were to lose real estate has such unique qualities under the law and in real life that it's very hard to calculate how much damages one would sustain. So that is the kind of situation where the law allows you to argue that you would suffer irreparable harm if the foreclosure were allowed to proceed.
Okay, and if and when you're successful, by the way, ano ba ang success rate ng ng TROs? Usually
in my office, depending on the evidence. Our success rate is almost around 90% currently. And that is because it is so prevalent now to find very defective documents, foreclosure documents, some fraudulent and fabricated documents. And the judges are now starting to really pay attention to these issues because it's been in the news so much.
Right. Okay. If you're successful in getting a TRO, gaano katagal yon na hindi gagalawin yung bahay?
Under the law, the judge is allowed to maintain a TRO for between 15 to 22 days. And then before the expiration of that time, then the court would schedule another hearing to determine whether the TRO or the stopping of the foreclosure should be continued pending the case or pending the trial of the case.
Okay, now, you mentioned kanina about 90% success rate. What happens to the other, say, 10% na hindi makakuha ng TRO? Is there another form of relief available to them?
Not in a courtroom, not on an emergency basis, but I will advise my clients that even if worse comes to worse and the foreclosure were to proceed, they still have a viable case in most instances for a wrongful foreclosure naman. And the wrongful foreclosure would challenge the validity or the legality of the foreclosure that was held on the basis of questionable documents.
Okay. Ano naman tong naririnig ko na preliminary injunction? What is that?
Yeah, that would be the next stage, the second stage. If and when the TRO is granted, there will come a time when the TRO will expire, let's say within 22 days. So that is the second hearing that would be held to determine whether the order stopping the foreclosure should be extended all the way until the case goes to trial, which could be a year later. And if we were to get a preliminary injunction, it's usually very favorable for the homeowner because it puts them in a very strong negotiating position, because that means that the bank cannot proceed with the foreclosure, and yet the homeowner will remain there in a position to litigate or to fight about the issues concerning their foreclosure.
All right. Sounds good. That is why the Reyes Law Group is there to help us, mga kababayan. Tawagan niyo po sila. You have offices even Christmas season?
Yes, we're open except Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve.
All right,
Yes.
tandaan niyo po yan. Of course, help is on the way. That's number to call on the screen if you want to get information. They do give free consultations. Thank you so much, Attorney Reyes.
Thank
and
you,
we'll see you
Janelle.
again.
Merry Christmas to you.
Yes,
If I don't
see you. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Magbabalik ko pa ang Kababayan LA. Let's talk about Filipino Migrant Center when we return. Don't go away.
The top Asian events of the year. LA 18 presents the 10th